Hello, good morning. How are you
Good
guys?
morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are Vacay Mode Travels, and that is Sarah. I am Alden. Hopefully, you guys are having a good week. Today's topic is resort buyouts. I'm trying to talk a little bit louder because some of these videos I'm always mumbling, I'm told. So I'm trying to speak up.
And I have a little bit of a cold, so I will be a little quieter today. But we are so excited to talk to you guys today about resort buyouts because this is a question we get asked all the time by destination wedding couples is it possible to buy out a boutique resort? And you guys, a boutique resort could be as small as 20 rooms, it could be 50 rooms, or even larger. So there are resorts that are all different sizes, but essentially with a resort buyout, you are contracting the entire resort, which is so cool for a variety of reasons that we're gonna talk about today.
Yep, and like Sarah was mentioning, not every resort is the same size. Some might be 500, 700 rooms, something massive, but a lot of these boutique ones might be 50 to 100. And if you think about it, if you're having 100, 200 guests, you have the opportunity to buy out the entire place. Something to consider.
Absolutely. So let's talk about reasons why a couple might decide that they want to do a resort buyout instead of just contracting a block of rooms. So the first thing is going to be the privacy and the exclusivity. When you buy out an entire resort, you have the entire resort to plan your events. So that may mean you have access to restaurants that you normally wouldn't have access to, private areas, you're not dealing with other people walking around, interrupting or walking through your event. So it's just giving a higher level of privacy and exclusivity, not only to you, but to your guests as well.
Yep, privacy, think about it. A lot of our clients always ask, during the ceremony or reception, how private is it really? And unless it's always going to be semi-private because a lot of these venues are, adjacent to the rooms. There's going to be eyes on you. Obviously, they try their best to try to rope it off, so privacy. The next one is simplified logistics. And this is, if you think about it, you have all your accommodations, activities, all in one place. And you can customize those from the time that your guests walk in. If you have a welcome sign, things like that, all the events going on, all that staff is going to be focused on you.
You could even have a table set up in the lobby with everyone's welcome bags so they could grab that little welcome treat when they arrive. There's so many ways you can customize your event when you do a resort buyout. Now, let's talk about a lot of those pros, are pretty self-explanatory. That's why a lot of couples consider a resort buyout. Let's talk about some of the reasons why a couple may opt not to do a resort buyout and just do a contracted block of rooms. And the biggest thing is going to be the contracts are going to be a lot more strict because you are buying out an entire resort. We are affecting their ability to sell nights. Say you contract only 3 or 4 nights. That could make it really difficult for the resort to sell the alternative dates of that week to other guests. Now, one way around this is, if you do a midweek wedding, then that can help out the resort since bookings tend to be more popular on the weekends. But overall, the contract terms are going to be more strict. You're not going to have as much flexibility. And whereas with a normal room block, you can drop rooms without penalty by a certain date. With this, you may still be committed to pay for all of those rooms regardless of they get booked.
Yep.
So some things to keep in mind.
These resorts are very open to it, but keep in mind they do need to make money as well. They want to make it worth their time. Like Sarah said, the cost can be higher on the weekends. If you think about it, if you've been at a resort, Fridays through, people make just a long weekend of it. They come in on Friday, leave on Monday, and so those midweek weddings might be more cost effective.
Absolutely. And another thing is just the complexity of the planning in general, because when you're buying out a resort, it's more than just picking out your venue. You're picking out meals, activities, everything for your entire guest. Their entire experience is being customized. So it does take a little bit more planning and diligence, but that's why you hire an expert like us to be in your back pocket and be helping you along the way.
Let's go over some tips to make the most of your resort buyout. And just going back to the time of the week, make sure that the time is right. Midweek stays, off-season dates can give you more leverage and negotiate better prices. Resorts are often eager to fill up those less popular times.
Plan a pre-wedding site visit, whether it's virtual or in person. This is going to allow you to truly see, experience, and feel the vibe in the resort itself, helping you be confident in your decision to do that buyout.
And lastly, work with the right experts. That is us. Not only are we going to be managing your wedding and your group contracts, we're going to read through the fine print of that resort buyout, make sure that everything is sifted through. What does that mean to you and your group moving forward?
Absolutely. And let's talk about some FAQs about resort buyouts. So, can you only do it for large weddings? Do you need to have a wedding of 100 plus people in order to do a resort buyout? You don't. Boutique hotels, like we talked about, 20 to 50 rooms, which is the very, right in the middle of that average wedding size that we see. So this is really an option for any couple that wants that privacy and exclusivity.
What's included in a buyout package? Every resort is different, but the buyouts include exclusive access to all the rooms, event spaces, venues, amenity, but even more so that's not on here is the staff. You're gonna have all that dedicated staff on you and your guests.
Absolutely. And how far in advance do you need to be planning if you want to do a resort buyout? We always tell our destination wedding couples 12 to 18 months is preferred. And I have even mentioned it to a couple of couples this week that they really had so much more flexibility with their destination wedding group because they were planning around that 18-month mark. We've had wedding groups as of late that need to add rooms, or maybe they want to drop rooms. It's easier to do those things when you're planning in advance because the resort still has availability. If we wait till the end or you're planning on a tight timeline, it can be harder to make adjustments or accommodate room requests that are outside of the room block. So always for that reason, we do recommend 12 to 18 months in advance. It also is going to ensure that you get your preferred selections. Now, when you're doing a buyout, it's not super common to do a buyout, but when you're doing a buyout, we want to make sure that the resort is available and that you can buy it out.
So the question comes down to, is a buyout right for you? And it ultimately comes down in how you envision your special day. Do you want it completely private? Do you want the focus to be on you and your guests only? And the other thing I would look at too is guest count. Like we said earlier, a lot of these resorts might be 50 or 100 rooms, and that is how many people you were planning on inviting. The entire resort is going to be you and your guests. So that guest count and privacy really are the two main ones I would think of.
Absolutely. And if you are considering a resort buyout, schedule a complimentary consultation with us. Let's talk about it. One thing we do also recommend when it does come to a resort buyout is we do recommending adding on our on-site services, just because it's an extra set of hands to help take the stress off of you on the special day during the events, helping make sure that your vision is brought to life and just allowing you to really enjoy your special event and your nuptials with your loved one.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. Otherwise,
reach
out. Have a great rest of the week, and we will talk soon.
Safe travels.